Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
And welcome to another episode of Board Game Snobs.
Whoa.
I'm your host, Gaby.
No.
What?
You always say go, and then I go.
Can't change it up?
No, you can't
Call
change
mixing
it.
it up.
No, we have a
You have
rhythm.
to mix it up.
You have thrown the rhythm off.
Rhythm is a dancer.
What?
According to Snap.
Who's Snap?
Oh, Snap. You've never heard of Snap?
I don't know who.
Were you alive in the 90s?
Don't pull across all this pop culture
Pull
stuff on me.
across.
I don't care about it. I don't care
sorry,
one bit.
I'm into
Welcome to the Board Game
dancing.
Snob podcast. This is
This is
Jerry. This is
Gaby.
Gaby. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Fine. Hey, wait. Go.
All right, welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. This is Jerry, and my co-host, who is the lesser host,
dare
Gaby.
you. How dare you?
And this podcast is about board games and the things about board games, but also we
And
banter.
entertainment.
And we entertain. Are we entertainers at heart?
Are you not entertained?
We're the dancers.
That's mixed. Are you dancer or are you human?
No, I am. Well,
That's the question the Killers asked in their very pivotal
therefore I
song of 2000 and something or other.
did they? What did they ask?
The Killers? Are you human or are we dancer?
That's a weird question.
It is a weird
Because
question.
it implies that if you dance, you can't be human. But what's more human than
Exactly.
dancing? Who was the first human that said, if I move in rhythm with this music?
Well, that would be okay. Where's music come from? When was music
my heart.
first invented?
Yeah, this is
Your heart wasn't alive.
This is a
in
thought. This is a thought experiment for you.
Three.
What was the Roman national anthem? What did it sound like?
We pluribus sudum
No.
simplify.
Yeah, actually, maybe we don't know because
We
we
don't
lost
know.
it. We lose music.
Latin.
There's not a lot of when you think about our history of music, it only goes back to a certain length.
Well, it's like, I mean, if you go to the Bible, like Psalms was a lot of music.
True.
The book of Psalms and
Psalms.
Psalms, and you have no idea what the rhythm is.
No.
But you can read the lyrics. And it's like poetry. So, what did they have back then? Harps,
Mandolins, or
drums,
You know they had drums.
the skin. Oh yeah,
Percussion's been
You
around
could
for
bang
forever.
on anything.
They had a drum line forever.
Yes, boom, boom. There was always skin that could stretch across something
And beat on it. Yeah.
and beat on it.
I mean drums are like when you think of an instrument to keep the beat.
Oh,
But then like with guitars and pianos and all these things that come about nowadays
harps. What were harps made of? They didn't use them cat string back then, did they?
Don't know. That's a good question. What did they
That
use?
is a good question.
Well, they had to have something that made the reverberation when they. What did they use?
I don't know.
Don't look that up though.
I'm not looking it up right now.
We're not worried about that.
Which vegetable was considered poisonous in medieval times, but was used by the Romans as an aphrodisiac?
I know this. Give me a moment. The artichoke. I don't know.
Artichoke you.
The artichoke is the best. The artichoke is the best. The artichoke is the best.
Tomato.
The pomme d'amour. The love apple. That's what the French called it.
They called a tomato the love apple?
Yeah, it's like the pomme is something. Yeah, yeah. Because I don't know. They had a weird name for it.
It says being in I don't know, some sort of family as regards to vegetables.
But weren't they all kind of like around Italians?
It includes deadly nightshades and other poisonous plants. Tomatoes were erroneously thought to be poisonous.
They're a fruit, though.
Well, yeah, because they got seeds in it.
Right.
Exactly. Instead, according to folklore, if you would eat a tomato, its poison would turn your blood into acid. Instead, the colonists used to grow tomatoes purely for decoration.
Really?
Hey, this harkens back to something. What is the highest recorded jump by a kangaroo in a single leap?
We already talked about this.
No, the highest recorded jump. Highest.
Vertical jump.
That's what I would take by this.
I'll have to ask Troy. But I believe
quite mind-boggling.
it would be 30 feet.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. I mean, if they can jump that far forward.
I would assume they could jump that high vertically.
Fun fact, it says here. Not me.
How'd they record that?
They had a tape measure.
They get that one. What, they just talk them into jumping, just jump up.
Female kangaroos can decide their offspring's sex.
How? How do they know that? How do they know that the female kangaroo is thinking to herself, I want a boy?
I just reported
How does they know this?
They will even delay pregnancy when environmental factors are highly probable to decrease the opportunity of survival of the fetus.
Survival of the fetus. It sounds like this survival of the fittest. Oh, that's interesting.
Interesting?
Yes, I didn't know that. You're hitting me with a bunch of stuff I don't know.
Welcome.
Keep it up.
What are the 2 best-selling pop albums of all time? You should be able to get at least one of these.
Pop albums? One was Michael Jackson.
Exactly. Thank you. Which one?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on.
I can't think of. I'm blanking on his albums right now. I'm sorry.
Okay, I will give you them. I will give you a couple of them.
There I go.
At least. You have Bad. You have The Wall, I think.
Okay.
Thriller.
Okay,
there you go.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thriller.
As soon as I said it, you knew it.
Yeah. Was the other one's the Beatles?
Nope. Eagles.
Oh, yeah, you got Eagles.
Their greatest hits, apparently. Which cells are situated only within the nervous system?
Cells?
You're a
Like brain cells?
in
Are you
this
talking about
department.
like
I just read
neurons?
the
What are you talking
questions
about?
as
I
I
don't know what
give
you're talking
them.
about.
Which cells are
Cells?
situated only within the nervous system?
I like how you start pouring me Jameson and start asking me these Jeopardy questions. Like I don't.
As I look at the answers and act
As
like
you
I'm
look at-
smart. You didn't know this?
Basal cell carcinoma.
Neurons.
I said neurons.
I did not hear you say neurons.
I'm sorry. I said neurons. I mumbled neurons.
Humans have around 100, how many?
billion.
Billion neurons in the brain alone.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So you get your neurons firing. We've hoped that we fired your neurons as we talk about various other things on this podcast. Like I said, this is a podcast about board
I
games.
love did you know stuff and trivia.
But it's also about random trivia sometimes.
Some random trivia.
We like to just turn the
We like to
mics
have fun
on,
here.
talk about stuff, gripe about board games. I really like these Glencairn glasses.
I know. They make you feel sophisticated.
I cannot help feel that I'm better than people when I have one of
I'm
these.
better than you.
Does this make me pompous? It's like, it's like, I think that's like a Southern thing. We're so used to drinking out of everybody's drank out of the mason jars.
A mason jar full of Jameson.
Yeah. It's like, you just can't feel.
I want to talk about my progression through whiskey.
Well, we're about 3/4 of the way through this bottle. Is that what you're talking about? Or like your taste of it? All right, go ahead.
No, okay. Let me talk about my progression through alcohol in
My
general.
name is Jerry, and I have.
I started off hating alcohol. My dad used to drink Coors, regular
As
Coors.
you should.
Regular
Hate
Coors. Back in the 80s, and I would like taste this. That's gross. That's nasty. I was a little kid. I just tasted.
That's how you sounded.
Yeah. Oh, you should hear my voice when there's some video of me as a 13-year-old, and I was very high pitched.
You sound like Elmo.
From Sesame Street?
Yeah. Not the other street.
I probably did. I was very high pitched. So then I started hanging around my friend's brother, my friend. Oh my goodness, my wife's brother. My brother-in-law.
13?
My brother-in-law.
You married very young.
As I was married.
Oh.
So as I liked margaritas, they were sweet, but then he drank straight whiskey, straight bourbon, and IPAs.
Right.
Couldn't stand any of that stuff. But my other friends were into Coors Light. So I started liking Coors Light.
They're not your friends.
I started liking Coors Light. I would drink it. So then years later, I'm in Vermont with my other brother-in-law, and he's into IPAs as well, but I try a pale ale. It was the Costco pale ale, whatever their name brand is. It's Kirk Gibson. I don't know.
Kirk Gibson.
No, he hit the home run for the Dodgers in the World Series. It's not Kirk Gibson. It is the Kirkland's. That's the Costco brand.
What's Costco? Go ahead.
It's the Target of Sam's. I try this pale ale. I'm into it. Then I start getting IPAs. I'm into it. I drink IPAs for a while. Then I try some mixed drinks. I like them okay. Then I get into bourbon. Then I get into scotch. Straight. Nothing else in it. I start drinking it straight. Now I'm into Irish whiskey. This Jameson, it's a black barrel. It is one of the better I've had. Macallan is 12 years, one of the better scotches I've had. Bourbon is all over the map, but it's been a progression. And my liver tells the tale.
Well, I will say that as you drink whiskey, your taste buds changed.
It does. We went to a brewery the other day in Dallas. It was a Martin House brewery. And my friend and my wife, DJ, he's been on here before in the RPGs. He loves sours. Like, that's basically all he drinks is sours.
Right. Likes that.
I don't care for them.
They're all right.
They're nasty. And I was like, I just don't. But they had others. Like, they had like a lager and some ales. I'm like, and they're like, you've been ruined by just drinking straight whiskey and bourbon. I was like, maybe I have. Your taste buds change.
Do you think that your taste in board gaming changes as you play a certain type of board games over and over?
Good grief, yes.
I think that used to, when we were first started this podcast, we were very much the idea of being almost like Ameritrash gamers. Like, we liked we thought that we liked certain types of games. Like, I remember joking one time about how many dungeon crawl games that we had played, and we didn't like any of them. And slowly, as we played, we realized we were kind of slightly leaning towards being Euro gamers more than anything else.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
And now we've come to find that we have distilled down what we like. Like, there's a certain genres and certain types of games that we know are probably the types that's going to capture our attention. And we have steered away from games that don't necessarily fall into those categories, but we still strike out and try other things.
And just as soon as I think I have something nailed down, like, I feel like we are heavy Euro gamers. Is brass considered a heavy Euro?
It's like economical, so yes, it's Euro.
Economical, okay. I'd say we're into that. Viticulture, maybe not so heavy, but medium. Gate to Yang, just stuff like this. Orleans, Grand Austria Hotel, we could go on and on. But then, as we discussed last podcast, a Western Legends comes out. That's just rootin' tootin' fun.
Rootin' tootin' fun.
And I enjoy myself. It's not a game. It's not a style of game we normally play.
And we're going to talk about a game that's not normally the style that we generally play. Talon. Talon is a GMT game. And for a lack of a better description, it plays like a miniature hexagonal war game, although there are really no miniatures. It's all hexagonal. And if you're familiar with like X-Wing miniatures,
big hexagonal,
X-Wing miniatures and Armada, Star Wars Armada, these games of tactical starship combat, that's what Talon is. Talon has been sitting on my shelf for a long time. Hadn't really gotten a chance to play it or punch it or do anything of.
Hadn't really dug into it.
Hadn't dug into it. And quite frankly, there's a lot that is not appealing about it. It doesn't capture your attention. It has it utilizes a board that's just space. It's just black with some stars on it.
It is the most generic board
you've ever seen. It has some quirks with it, like all the ships are these little hexagonal pieces that you ride on with erasable markers, which is kind of nasty because they, how you've got a dry erase marker that you're putting stuff on, and it has this weird.
Oh, I'd say nasty.
It is.
That's a weird term to use.
Nasty.
There.
I don't like
messy.
Not
nasty.
That's nasty.
And
so
there's feces on it.
There is a weird. What?
That is nasty. Nasty is a weird term to use.
Nasty just dictates that it's something that is.
No, messy.
All right,
nasty.
Messy. All right, thank you, Mr. Sothoris.
Lionel Messi.
All right, so there is a.
What'd you say?
What?
Sothoris?
Thesaurus. He's sore because he's been working out.
Whatever.
So in Talon, you have this weird movement system, like it's.
I want to quote Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay, go ahead.
Do the chickens have large talons?
That was good. Thank you for that. It was well worth the wait. It was well worth the wait.
Napoleon Dynamite, I watched it, thought it was dumb.
Oh, I love Napoleon Dynamite.
After I watched it, I heard other people quoting it. And when they quoted it, I'm like, that's hilarious. What are you quoting?
You have to watch
Napoleon Dynamite. I'm like, are you kidding me? I watched that. It's dumb. Watched it again. Loved it. It is a weird thing to happen.
Somebody pointed out on a forum once that the guy who plays Uncle Rico is a vegan.
Oh, really?
And he's so staunchly vegan that he will not eat meat at all. Like he's just completely against it.
Most vegans are.
But here's the thing.
I'm a vegan, but sometimes I eat meat.
Here's the thing. In the show, he's often seen eating meat. Like he eats like 2 or 3 steaks. But if you watch the scene closely, he will spit it out. Like there's a scene where he's on the porch where he throws the pork chop at the bike.
Yeah.
He's sitting there eating a piece of meat, and he actually spits it out into his hand and throws it behind him. I mean, you have to rewatch the show. But there's scenes where you always see him chewing, but he never swallows. Like he will not eat the meat because he just thinks it's nasty.
Napoleon Dynamite, okay, so
and that's a great film.
It is hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Well, how is it though that I watched it the first time thinking it's dumb?
Well, it's because
then enjoy
you
it
have
later.
to be in the right mood for it. Like certain things are off-putting.
Or maybe I didn't know what to expect.
Like I have watched Nacho Libre like a dozen times. It is so stupid, but it is still it's mildly entertaining and it's lighthearted, and it's just the situation as a whole that's funny, not so much the individual jokes or the gags in it. The
Jack Black is
stretchy pants.
Jack Black is just gold.
It's great. It's great.
I love it. Oh,
the game Talon.
Huh?
Yes, that was the game I was talking about before somehow you started talking about Nacho Libre. Talon
Let's do our top 10 movies next time.
A space combat game where you ride on the ships, the little hexagonal chits that's almost rhymed, and engage in this very not fast-paced, but more on the slow side, very deliberate planning of big ship combat. And it wasn't really a game that I thought we would enjoy. It's mainly a 2-player game. It has a little campaign that you could play. You buy certain ships and you put them out there, and they have different weapons, and you're just rolling dice to see if you hit. And each side's ships kind of do different things. One Federation. It's basically like a reskin of Star Trek. This actually was based on an old Star Trek game. And so like one side's the Federation, the other side's the Klingons. The Klingon ships can move a little bit faster and turn a little bit quicker, and the Federation's got torpedoes and shoot a little bit harder. It was very interesting to play it with Enrique because he's terrible at these types of games.
Why?
Because he doesn't plan ahead. He plans one move at a time. And so I obliterated him, but he had a good time.
Oh, snap.
And so when we played, I instantly, because I know Gaby's love of X-Wing miniatures, I brought this game over and said, hey, this is quicker to set up, quicker to learn, has a very neat move mechanic that I think really adds to the game, and I think you're going to like it. We set it up, I explained it really quickly, and we started playing. We played for like 2 hours. We played this big battle, and it was awesome.
I loved it. But you compared it to Armada.
Yes, Star Wars Armada.
And you said that lots of people compare it to Armada, and the fact that you have this big fleet. We played 3-on-3.
Mm-hmm. No, you had 4 ships. I had 3.
4-on-3. You go to a point system just like X-Wing. And Armada, we played Armada. It was a game I checked out on. I love X-Wing. Armada, to me, while very similar, there's something about it I just didn't like.
It's more complicated, and there's more deliberate planning and increase your shields and
I guess
power to your engines.
Yeah, this one had all that, but in a way I understood and I like. It doesn't seem like it's not what do you call the
power
stuff
curve.
In the game? The stuff in the game, like the
rules.
No,
the components.
It doesn't have miniature components.
Oh, yeah.
The components of this game are ridiculous. It's a GMT game.
This game is not comprised of components.
It is a big chit.
Yes. hexagonal.
Like Combat Commander, you have these little chits. This is a big chit. And you write on that.
Right. You've described this game accurately. I appreciate your insight into this game.
Not a little chit, but a big chit. And you write on it with a dry erase marker.
Yes.
That seems
odd.
It seems weird. It seems like that would not be cool, but it makes it so much simpler.
Yeah. So
the info you need is on that big chit.
It is. And so on your spaceship chit, you have your weapons, and if you use your marker and color those weapons in, they're ready to fire, and you can power them up each move or every time your ship gets power.
Power up can be very confusing.
The impulse of the game is what they call it. So the game is played through rounds, and each round is staged through various impulses, A through F. And so your ship has 3 numbers on it that you write in. The first one's the power, the second one's the engines, and the third one is your turn radius. And so basically, that number is how many times that ship will receive power, how many times it will move, and how quickly it can move again. So if your turn radius is a 2, once you turn, you have to wait 2 turns before you can turn again. It's basically how big and lumbering your ship is, how agile it is.
Right.
The movement of the ship, you just move one space at a time, how often that ship can move. And then the power curve is how much power your ship has and how often it can charge its shields and weapons.
The power! What's that?
What is that?
You don't know?
I'm blanking.
Really?
What is it? You don't
He-Man.
know. Oh, He-Man.
Power of Grayskull.
No.
I have the power.
Aren't they making that? They're making a live action.
It will not be with Dolph Lundgren.
What happened to him?
He's still around. He just made Creed 2. He played the same character, but his son beat down Creed's son. And then Creed's son, I guess. I didn't watch the movie, but I mean, if you go by all the Rocky movies, he lost and then he wins. I mean, that's literally every. Okay, aside from the first Rocky, where he loses at the end,
he's won every one,
and he calls out Adrian. Adrian. Do you consider Sly Stallone a good actor?
No. He
that first one was like Oscar nominated.
Now he wasn't acting; he was playing himself. He just happened to fit that character so
Didn't
well.
He write that movie?
He may have. It wasn't.
I think he did everything.
He may have. I don't know, but I mean, you can have.
But it's very good that he wrote that. He lost. That's not typical Stallone.
That's not typical.
Vin Diesel would never have wrote that.
No, Vin Diesel never loses, whether it's by an inch or a mile.
I hear tell. He literally wrote into his contract he cannot lose a fight in the Fast and Furious movies.
Really?
Him and The Rock not getting along makes me sad.
Oh. I'm so sad.
I don't think you're sincere.
I'm so sad to hear.
I am. I love Vin Diesel in the Fast and Furious movies.
And The Rock aren't getting
but
along.
Sly Stallone. I call him Sly as if I'm really like buddy with him.
Yeah.
Sylvester. His best movie of Sylvester Stallone. What?
He did have that one that was in the 90s.
Throw Mama from the Train.
No.
Where my mom will shoot.
That was his worst one ever. I'm talking about the disaster horror film where people were trapped in the tunnel. I believe it was called Daylight.
Oh.
That was actually pretty good. It was
really?
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
You didn't like that? No. Well, it was one of those typical 90s. One of those typical 90s disaster films, and it was
terrible.
a good one.
That was boring.
No, it wasn't.
Instead of Daylight, it should have been called Boring.
No, you just don't like disaster films.
No. Rambo, another good movie.
I've never watched Rambo.
You've never watched Rambo?
Never watched Rambo.
The first one?
I lived with Rambo.
I meant to get into this. This may not be the podcast for it.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you talking about your dad?
And eventually we're going to get back. We're going to get through a review
We'll
here.
get through it.
Okay.
You've mentioned your dad on several occasions.
I have.
Is he still with us?
No, he's dead.
You've never said that.
Oh, I haven't?
I don't think you have.
Pretty sure I've said that somewhere.
I don't think you have.
Okay.
If you have, I don't remember.
All right.
Because we talked about my mama a couple podcasts ago.
Right.
But we didn't discuss your father.
No, I did mention before is that his death was like kind of one propelled me back into board gaming.
Okay. Maybe we did.
Yeah.
Okay. I know he was a military man.
Right. It's just like, right?
Don't have much else to discuss.
I don't know what else.
You mention your dad a lot, is what I'm saying.
Well, it was because he was a character, and he led a very strange.
Was he tough on you?
No.
He wasn't?
No. I mean, people, if I would repeat things that he did, people would think, oh, he's tough. No.
Right.
He was trying to make you tough.
I see.
Right.
Did you get along with your dad?
Yeah.
Really?
Very enjoyable to be
That's
around.
good.
He was me. he was basically me, but he was a sniper in Vietnam and then a drill sergeant afterwards. So he was me.
So he lived a pretty interesting life.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine me with 39 confirmed kills. Let's just do that. That's all I could say.
What was his name?
What do you mean his name?
What was his name? His first name?
Jerry. I'm Junior.
Really?
Yeah, I am Junior. Yeah, I'm Junior.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Junior.
So I was like Jerry Senior.
Yeah, he was Senior.
Jerry Junior has 39 confirmed kills, but it's in Talon.
Well, I used to have this running joke about, because Dad was he was one of those that he could. There was a time period where he would liken everything to Nom.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
it was very,
Right.
but it became like a running joke between me and my sister, because no matter what was going on, what you were talking about, he could relate it back to Nom somehow.
Oh, sure.
And so we had this running joke. We'd be like in the drive-thru at Dairy Queen. He's like, well, I remember one time in Nom, we had to wait 4 days in the jungle for a supply drop. And I mean, it was like always.
It's like nothing you've done is nearly as bad as what he's been through.
Yeah. So it's like, if you griped about something,
You can't compete.
like, I remember very clearly one time a story for which I will not repeat because it was so horrific, but I was talking about being frustrated about having to wait on something. And he was like, I remember one time our line got overrun. Broke the line. We had to go hand to hand. It had absolutely nothing with what we were talking about. He told this incredibly scarring,
Dark, depressing
story. And that was like my dad. So like all my friends liked being around my dad because at one point in time, he'll just start talking. Yeah, there's this one time. And you were ready for this story of like, well, okay. My favorite, my dad
from Talon to Nom.
I don't know how. Tried to. I'm going to hard merge this back.
Merge us out of
but
this.
My dad had a friend that was also in Nom that he was a cook, and he used to always talk about when he was in Nom, but he didn't act the same way as my dad. And then one day I said something about, so why? What did he do? And he says, oh, he was a cook, and I thought Dad was just joking. And then one day I was talking to Gary, and I was like, hey, so what did you do in Nom? He says, I was a cook. So that's all. And he says, that's why your dad is always talking about my Purple Heart I got for shell fragments. It's when I was making omelets. And it was this, and it was just this running joke that he was always in Nom, and he'd always preface it like, yeah, I was just a cook. I was with anyways, it just cracked me up.
Wow.
And he did. He had a culinary arts degree.
Wow.
And he cooked. I thought, he said, well,
Crazy.
somebody's got to get the spam.
That's crazy. Oh, I can't even imagine. And here we are playing Talon.
Well, you were pretty distraught when I started blowing up your ships in Talon.
Yeah, I was getting
Do you
shell-shocked.
let's say, do you recommend Talon?
Well, this is your thing. You're like, I can't recommend games that are like not.
Why are you plagiarizing me?
It takes.
Here's what I'll say. I'll interrupt.
Wait, you asked me a question I need to answer. I need to form words and thoughts.
That's how you generally do it, but go ahead.
Not good. If you like X-Wing,
Right.
if you like, you would have to say GMT games, Combat Commander. To me, this is Combat Commander the way I wish Combat Commander could be with ground battles, but I know that's hard to do with a human being. You can't have shields up or power. But I really liked the way this was designed, the power, the shields. It reminded me I had a game, and I think this is what you said it was based off, but it was Star Trek Combat Simulator or something like from way long ago.
Yeah.
And it had the little bitty chits, and it had these sheets. There were sheets of every shield has this, and the power of that shield, you had this, and to do that, you had to row these. It was just super complicated. Right. And I had it when I was like 12 years old. So I was like, whoa, I just like moving the little chits around because it was the Enterprise. And I'd make up my own game like rolling dice, and if this is a 6, it hits. But that's this game, and I love that. And there are tactics. You can fly in, you can turn, but you can't turn as fast as you want to turn. Yeah. And this game is what I have wanted from a combat game for a long time, and it is what I envisioned combat games to be in space.
Wow.
I love X-Wing.
Yes.
We need to play X-Wing again.
Yes.
But to me, this is X-Wing with strategy.
This is X-Wing distilled down to what makes X. This is none of the flash of X-Wing.
I'm about to say, I don't know that the X-Wing can be distilled down because, like, you just turn and shoot in X-Wing. This has more to it than than X-Wing.
This in Talon, and so here's my thoughts on it. If you ever wanted to get into a miniatures type game or a game like this, a 2-player, and it can be played with more players. You can have 4 players or 3 players and just divide up the ships.
I wouldn't recommend that.
I wouldn't recommend that. Ever getting into a game that's this spaceship tactical type game, there's a great video on YouTube. This guy does a complete rules run through of it. And I mean, it's 20 minutes. It's really clear and concise. Go watch it. You'll understand the game completely. The components aren't great. It's not that flashy. But if you're looking to get into a game like X-Wing, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, like X-Wing is expensive, buying the base set, buying other ships, having to set it up. This game Talon takes very little time to set up. It's very quick to set up. It's very interesting to set up the little scenarios. The rule book is very clear and concise and to the point. It's very quick. And I think it's actually, if I had to recommend it to somebody, if you like X-Wing miniatures, I would say definitely give Talon a try because it's something that kind of has that flair to it.
If you like Combat Commander, give this a try.
If you are in any type of GMT games, give this a try. If you have 2, it's a 2-player game. If you and another person in your group is into these tactical type games and you want to give something a try, you're into sci-fi, Talon. This game's not leaving my collection. I really enjoy it. I think I like this. This is going to be heresy to you.
Oh, gosh.
I like X-Wing. What holds it back to me is I don't like having to set it up. I didn't like having to buy the 2nd edition and having all these ships redone. I don't like the money that you put into it. It's very fun to break out, but we often don't break it out because it's a pain in the butt to set up. Yes. It's a pain to take down. It's a pain to remember some of these little rules. And I would rather... With all of that, I would almost rather just play Talon. I actually enjoyed the slower pace strategy of knowing when I'm going to power up my shields, knowing when I'm going to adjust the power curve of my ship to make it go faster or slower, getting my weapons lined out. Talon to me was an excellent. It is at the heart of what makes X-Wing good. They've stripped away all the flair and gave you just the base goodness of it. And it's readily accessible. There's actually an expansion that just come out that I'm probably now going to end up buying just because of the fact that I have enjoyed this game so much. And Enrique even understood it. There's something for Enrique liked it. Enrique understood it. And it was an interesting game. Really liked it. Talon by GMT Games. Talon. Like the talons of an eagle.
I love it. BGS approved.
There it is. Friends, here in November, we're going back to BGG. We look forward to being there. If any of you happen to be going to their BGG in the fall, drop us an email. Let us know. Also, what else do we have to look forward to? Oh, we have to get our Zaya review out. We have to get our review of Villagers out. We have to get Imperial Settlers rolling right out. Detectives. I am reviewing the Detective Modern Crime game. Also, the new Van Ryder Kickstarter game, Detective City of Angels. Right. Having that out as well. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
We played, well, I'm not going to talk about it right now, but we played a classic.
Through the Ages.
Pillars of the Earth.
And Pillars of the Earth. Not Through the Ages. I'm sorry. Through the Desert.
I'm Gaby.
This is Jerry.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.